Do you end up making people uncomfortable and defensive? Do you have a pointed tone in your conversation, or you're accusing people? Or is the feedback that you provide to people very generic? They find it abstract, sometimes irrelevant? Do you get nervous and are not able to give people feedback? For many people, giving feedback equates having a difficult discussion. The inability to give feedback can lead to serious problems. People can leave their jobs, fire people, or even break off relationships. Now, giving feedback is both science and art. Science because it includes observation and transformation of information. Scientifically speaking, it should be fairly simple. Here is a problem, here's what you do to solve this problem. But it is an art as well because it needs to be delivered by the most difficult creature to the most difficult creature in the most effective manner possible, as seen by the receiver of the feedback, not the giver of the feedback. This introduction of feelings and emotions makes the whole conversation difficult for people. The only thing worse than a person who cannot take feedback is a person who cannot give feedback. A person who cannot take feedback is only going to damage themselves, but a person that cannot give feedback is going to damage everybody. What if I told you feedback is a life-changing tool? Even the worst people you may know have a desire to improve themselves. You just might not know how to activate it right now. Let's start with the principles. What is the objective of giving feedback? The singular objective of giving feedback should be to try and improve something a person is doing in a specific area. Now, there are 100 reasons why you don't want to give feedback, but there is only one reason why you should want to give feedback: that you are invested in a person. Here's how you set up the transaction. The best way to start a conversation is by first opening up and asking them if they have any feedback for you. You might catch them by surprise, but that's fine. You can just ask them to simply put forth if they have any thoughts that they want to share with you as feedback to improve. You'll realize the environment of the room is going to change. They're going to realize this is a safe environment where they can say what they feel like. You should be in a position where you are listening attentively and trying to understand what they have to say to you and try and genuinely improve. If at your time of taking feedback, you were open, transparent, collaborative, you are going to automatically elevate the level of this discussion where this person would be reciprocating when it's their turn. This is naturally going to lead to where they are going to ask you, do you have any feedback for me? That's a great opportunity to ask them if they're open for feedback from you. If they are going to say yes, this means it is the right opportunity to have this discussion. A great way to initiate this discussion would be to ask them how they feel about a specific situation that they were in recently. Now, at this point, you have the wonderful opportunity to correct your facts and correct your opinions with their calibration of the issue. Try and understand what were the reasons that drove them to behave or prepare in a certain way for that situation. You can absolutely never start with your own point of view. This is because there are many reasons and many things that this person would have gone through that has shaped them to behave in the particular way that they are behaving. While you have a right to start with it, do not make the mistake of starting with a judgment. After having heard them, it is now your turn. Now, unless this person is about to get fired today, you need to balance your message. 80% of it has to be positive. It needs to reinforce specific things and behaviors that you have seen this individual demonstrating. The one thing which makes the most profound impact to this individual's performance, that is the one thing you are allowed to talk about. This makes the conversation aspirational and realistic. In such a sensitive conversation, while you need to be very specific in what you tell them, absolutes are not a good choice of words. I felt in this conversation, or that it seemed to me, for example, in a specific discussion, I noticed that you used some data which you were not sure of. There is a way to humbly inform the person who is asking you that you do not have the right data to be able to answer this question. Here comes the second part, continuing the conversation by explaining to them the consequences. This could have led to a possible wrong decision in the meeting, or in some cases, even an impact to your personal credibility. Offer them an alternative. Another possible way you could have handled this situation was Watch their body language. Ask for their assessment of the situation, whether they agree with your assessment or not, whether they agree with the possible outcomes or not, and whether they agree that this is something that they could have pursued as an alternative solution or not. If you've been able to reach a point where they're ready to try out something new, your job is done. You have been able to create the reasonable amount of a safe environment, one in which they're ready to try out something new, ready to grow, ready to learn. Hang on, it's not over. You need to still agree with them how you are going to look back and review the situation the next time it comes, because there's a very good chance they fall to their default habit whenever it happens again. I will talk more about how, when we don't agree on how to solve a problem together, we create stress for the person that we have handed the problem over to. Success of this discussion is measured by how the person is going to feel at the end of it. If they are leaving this conversation feeling even more energized, more empowered, and feeling that they have a new tool in their toolbox to solve problems in the future, you've done a great job. If they leave nervous or you've stolen their confidence, you will unfortunately now be left with a pair of hands without a heart and head in the game. Now, sometimes feedback is intended to dig a grave. That should never be the case. It should always be a sincere and serious effort to make an improvement to an individual's life. Whether they say it or not, people can read through you. If you are honest, if you are genuine, if you are sincere, if your feedback is really intended to improve the individual, even if it shocks them, they will be thankful for your transparency, openness, and how you delivered the message. If you start practicing this, you are going to go from avoiding difficult conversations to having them on a daily basis and deciding to change lives. You will partner with your people every day. Your people will thank you for sincerely supporting them. Your value will increase in the eyes of your people. They will feel themselves not being judged but developing around you. These people who you are loyal to will become loyal to you. If you're interested in learning how to take feedback, I'll be doing a separate video. I'll link it in this video and in the description when it's ready. Talking of feedback, a great way to give me feedback would be to subscribe, like, and share this video if you found it useful. Thank you. Have a great day.